Welcome, everybody. Welcome, everybody. It's nice to have you here. Thanks for joining us. So we are now live, Facebook and YouTube. Can we hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Sorry, if you
Yes, I
can hear
can hear
me.
you.
Okay. Thank you very much. So you're all welcome. It's a pleasure to have every one of you here. And those joining on Facebook and YouTube, you're welcome. It's a pleasure to be your host today. And I believe that as you're joining us today, it's going to be an insightful and enlightening session, and you would not remain the same. I want us to start with a word of prayer as we invite the Heavenly Father to join us in this meeting. Father, as we begin this meeting, we trust that you are God. We know you are God, and we know that you're working in everything for good. We thank you for the beautiful plans, the plans you have for us. We thank you for the purpose, the vision you have given unto us as your children. We thank you because you want us to fulfill our purpose. You want us to live for your glory. You want us to show forth your praise. I pray that as we commence this meeting, as we learn, as we discuss, all that you have in store for us, we will get in Jesus' name. Preside over this meeting and let your name alone be glorified. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Once again, you're welcome. You're welcome. And then can someone help me put the title of this meeting in the chat box? Like, what's the title of this meeting? Whether you're on Facebook or YouTube or Zoom, just type in the title, the theme of this meeting. Put the theme of the meeting. Type the theme of this meeting. Type the theme of the meeting. I want to see your comments. Type the theme of this meeting. What's the reason why we are gathered here? Yes, uncovering hope and resilience, uncovering purpose and potential beyond physical limits. Okay, so we're commencing the meeting, immediately. And today we're talking about something very important and very key to our lives as humans, and its purpose. Recently someone was saying that someone without a purpose is like someone that is lost in an airport. And well, I think it's even worse than that. Someone without purpose is I would describe that person as a wanderer and a waster, because time is the currency of destiny. And so if you're wandering, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your destiny. And so that's why the issue of purpose is very, very important. And so without much delay, I would welcome our guest speaker today. I'm so happy, I'm so excited to introduce this amazing woman who has chosen to rise above her physical challenges. She has a challenge. We all have challenges in life, right? And she made a decision. And when I was listening to her, she was, there were times she was like, oh, she wants to do some things. And then people around her say, can you do this? Can you do this? Can you do this? It's like this pity. We as humans, we tend to have this culture of pitying people that have some form of disabilities, or some for people that are living with some form of physical challenges or disabilities. We tend to pity them, and we're like, can you do that? Can you do that? Are you sure? Should I help you? And it's actually not so good. It's not good for them. It's not good. And then when she told me she went to a body now, when I listen to her story, I'm like, wow. Your mom must have made a very tough decision. I know it was not easy for her, but I mean, she did it through support and all that. And here she is. She's a very, very creative woman. She offers even free trainings for some people. I see some of her works. Very creative. Oh my goodness. Recently, I was looking at one of her works, and I was telling my husband, oh my God, seeing what this woman is doing. She's very creative. She's making an impact in her own way. And it's my pleasure, it's my delight to welcome the CEO of Greener Pasture Creative Hub to join us this afternoon, this evening, wherever you're coming. It's also my pleasure to invite Mrs. Elizabeth Adegboro, because she's our special interpreter for today. Like, I really want to say thank you to you for recently, a few days ago, when Mrs. Busayo reached out to me and said, my students said they want to join, and some of them, they have challenges with hearing and speaking. And I'm like, okay. I mean, we didn't even plan, we didn't look at the accommodation for those people. But immediately she brought up the idea, I just began to contact people. And immediately I reached out to her, she's like, okay, I will be. So I want to say thank you to you for agreeing for taking our time to be our interpreter today with sign language. I'm going to pin you right now I'm going to pin you. I'm also going to pin Mrs. Busayo. So it's my pleasure to welcome Mrs. Busayo Winiro. You're welcome, Ma. You can turn on your video. Let's take a look at your beautiful face. And, let's see the glory of God shining bright and bright in your life. Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm going to pin you right now to the... Okay, Mrs. Busayo, are you there? Miss Busayo, can you hear me? I can't hear you. I think your video and your audio is turned off. Can you turn it on, Ma? I'm also going to be pinning, I'm going to pin Mrs. Sade Adegboro today. Yeah, I'm going to pin her now. Miss Busayo, are you there? I think you need to unmute. Like, you need to unmute. You need to unmute. Okay, thank you very much, Ma. Yes, you need to unmute.
I'm here, Mom.
Okay, good, good, good. Can we see your face? Yeah, I can hear your voice now. So, yeah, I'm gonna pin you to now. Okay, so can we see you? Like, your video is still not turned on. Do you have a challenge?
I'm trying to work on it.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so let's yeah, so Mrs. Mrs. Elizabeth Adegboro too, you can also get ready to turn on your video so we can see you, and then you can, yeah. Oh my, welcome, it's nice to see your face, your beautiful face.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for joining us today. Yeah. Oh, I can see the founder of Desire Health here, Mrs. Joke. Oh, welcome, Ma. It's nice to have you here. She's also making impact in that area, reaching out to those people living with disabilities. Yeah, so while we're waiting for Miss Busayo to work on a video, Okay, so I'll just continue. So while she works on a video. So we have a number of things we'll be discussing today. And Miss Busayo will be talking about, she'll be sharing a story with us. And we have the opportunity to ask her questions, challenges she faced, how she overcame. And so she will be sharing a unique story, bearing in mind that everyone has a unique story. She'll be sharing a story with us today. She'll be sharing a story with us today. And we'll have some questions to have. If you also have questions to ask, get ready to ask your questions. They're going to be answered. Okay, so Ms. Busayo, so while you are trying to work on your video, maybe we can just continue with your story so we don't, if it's okay, maybe we can just continue so we save time and all that. Is that okay with you? Is that okay with you, ma'am?
Okay, ma.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, I mean, I would have loved to see your, I mean, I'd have loved to see your beautiful face today, but hopefully before the meeting comes to a close, you will get the opportunity to do that. So we'll start by you telling us a bit about yourself. And can you tell us a bit about yourself, like your background, what you do? Yes, so tell us a little bit about yourself. Like we're meeting you, some of us are meeting you, some of us know you, some of us are meeting you for the first time. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening, good
Yeah,
afternoon.
we can hear you, ma. We can hear you.
Ma'am, it's a pleasure to be on this program tonight. I'm so happy being here on this program. I thank God for this opportunity. I'm Mrs. Busayo Winiron, the CEO of Greener Pastures Creative Hub. I was born into a home that happily received me into the home as a new baby. But I thank God because God knows the plan of man, which we never know in life. When I came into the family, after my 5th month in that family, that's when I clocked 5 months old. I was having an illness, and from there I was taken to the hospital. I was given an injection, and which this caused a kind of abscess. Getting to the house, my mom carried me and put me on the table. That's the dining table where she wants to feed me, and discovered that I can't sit on my own any longer. So she was like, what's happening? She took me back to the hospital. So taking me back to the hospital, my mom was made to understand that I have to face, and she has to face this this condition of mine, which started just like a play. And before we could know it, I can't sit on my own again. My mom went through all this till I got to age 1. Still, I can't stand on my own, not talk of walking on my own, not talk of doing like other children do. But in the course of this, my mom was able to carry me, my dad to carry me all through this period till I clock 1, till I clock 2. All the family members around were like, what is happening? But because of this, my mom insisted that she cannot have a baby at this point, that she's still looking at how I will be able to walk, how I'll be able to do things on my own, because it's a lot of challenge on them. I was even opportuned to have that reminder of meeting doctors, the white doctors here in Igbobi, then that my mom normally take me down for therapy. And I thank God that God was able to see me through all those periods. For this period, my mom never wanted to have another baby. So my grandmom had to pick me up and took me down to her side, which is my mom's village. So I was there for years. Not until when my mom came and said, this girl cannot walk. I've clocked 3, 4. I've not been unable to walk on my own. She had to bring me down to Lagos. bringing me back to Lagos. I was registered into Oxford Children's School here in Dokpemu, Lagos State. Getting to that school, I met with great challenges. Number one, I can't speak in English because I was brought in from the village to Lagos. And it's a school that is that you have children with children with wealthy parents. And getting to that school, I can't cope. Can't cope. They were giving me so many attitude that I was like, where have I found myself? Because of this, I won't be able to stand up. Even if I want to ease myself, I won't be able to stand up. At times, I will have calipers on my leg, the left leg. So this caliper will not be able to. It's just for it to assist me to walk properly. But by the time the children sees me with this, some will be scared to come close to me. Some will run away from me. Some will look at me from head to toe. I used to feel it. It wasn't easy for me to carry it. I could remember then I was having some female teachers then that were taking me, and instead of them to also encourage me with the condition, but you know, as a child, you won't even understand what is happening around you. But it will get to a point you will be able to understand that this is not the way you are to be treated. Until the point I knew that this is not the way I should be treated. Even the teachers will look at me and say, you want to go to where? Okay, go. The way they talk to me, at times I will not feel like asking for permission to use the restroom. At times I will feel bad to even mix up with other children. But I thank God some children will come around me. Even my mom, in my primary school days, because I started school late. Maybe I was in school for the very first time at age 6. At age 6. I think thereabouts, going to 6 years at age 6. So this even helped me because of that challenge. I said, I will not allow all these things to affect me. But it was affecting me. It was really affecting me. It really affected me in my primary school days. I won't lie to you. Because I was still a child. There is nothing like people around me that will be able to give me that kind of advice for me to say, let me manage, let me cope with my life. But I thank God that even my mom happened to be someone who has families around her. I have an uncle. That uncle was living with us. He finished from comprehensive high school at Itoro and told my mom, he said, Auntie me, this girl cannot stay with you. She has to go to a boarding school. My mom was like, what are you saying? Uncle Biola worked on it. He took us down for the exam interview and I passed. I put in for the exam in Premi 4. I didn't even sit for Premi 5. I did the exam from Premi 4 and I passed the exam and I was picked at Comprehensive High School Ayetoro. I got into the school in 1991 and I thank God in 1991 I finished in 1992. Before I finished, my chaplain also in the chapel was also an encouragement to me. He helped me, my friends around me, even my mom. She was like, how will I be able to cope in the secondary school, in the hostel? Because she doesn't like me going away from her side. She's always wanting me to find ease. She's always giving me this makebaje, pity, like the host once said. But I myself, I look at myself, even getting to that school, I see myself in another way. Because of the pity they've been giving me in the primary school, I used to reject it. But when I got to the secondary school, I found myself in another world. Being in a secondary school and at the same time in the hostel, no parents there. We only have our matron, we have our patrons there. So I was able to cope. My mom was able to help me in terms of encouraging me. The first visiting day, to the greatest surprise of my mom, Getting there, she saw friends around me. She burst into tears. That so Busayo can see people around her. She can have helpers, people who will run errands for her, because she's always saying, how will you do this? How will you do that? How will you cope with water, to fetch water, wash your clothes, and do the rest? And I happen to be a neat person from onset. They call me Afinju Ologbo. That's someone that doesn't like idoti. I don't like. So she was like, how will I be able to cope in this hostel? But anytime my mates are going to fetch water, I too will carry a small keg if it is 2 liters. But I will hide it away from my seniors because they don't like me doing any work. When it's time for dormitory morning duty, they will not put my name in the list. I will be angry that why is my name not in the list? Anytime I see the seniors that they are not inside the dormitory, I will collect the mop from my mates and help them to mop, because they will keep me there. They will say I should not do anything. All this was just paining me then, that how will I just be like this? Something I want to do, I like to do, I want to do, you'll be telling me I should not. I thank God I was able to scale through the JSS, the SS class, and with God helping me, God helped me to know him in that school. Through my chaplain, the God of heaven helped him. The seniors around me then also were around me to encourage me. My friends, in fact, I can't even number my friends because I'm someone who likes people coming around me. I'm not the Onikonra type. So maybe that's why. And for this, when I graduated from the secondary school, when I finished from the secondary school, I got my admission into FCE Special Oyo after the second year in the house. I was able to go in for my NCE and finish from my NCE in year 2002 with I studied special hearing impaired education with integrated science as my course of study, coming out with the IGP of 4.5 GP grade. And I bless God how God really helped me. After then, I furthered my education into University of Ilorin, where I studied guidance and counseling in 2005. And I thank God how God saw me through all this period too in university, at the University of Ilorin, with my 2-1. I bless God for how God has really helped me in my education, and planning to finish up my education. God said it's time for you to get married. I was looking at it. Even when my husband came to me, I was like, am I ready for wedding? But my younger sister after me wedded before me. But as God will have it, in 2010, I got married after my university education. I got married in 2010, blessed with 3 kids. I have 2 boys and a girl. And I bless God for how God has also been helping me with my husband. Happened to be a loving and caring husband. I thank God for him. And I never allowed this self-pity, all this to make me to feel like, and if I will calculate it, it was only my primary school days that I stayed with my parents. My NCE days, I was not with my parents. My secondary school, I was not with my parents, only to come home for vacation. My NCE, I was not with my parents. At the University of Ilorin, I was not with my parents. And with all this, people will be looking at me. This person she's a strong person. For her to be able to cope with this, not going with this challenge, and because of that, she's not in here, she's not there. I never allow this to disturb me. I never allow this to derail me for what God has in plan for me, because I know God has a good plan. He has a great plan for my life. I believe God that He has proposed some things for me, because in the face of all this, I was like, I would never allow anything to make me to feel bad to the point that I will not be able to achieve what God has put in me. While in that secondary school, if you could remember, I said that I can't even speak in English to the point that I was having mouth odor. And this is something I would like to hammer on this evening. If we have any child or any person with special disability, please and please, let's come around them. Let's look after them. Let's carry them along as we enjoy ourselves doing our things in our own way. This has never helped me in any way, but caused depression for me most of the time. The self-confidence was not there, even to the point that I got to the secondary school. That self-confidence was not there like it's supposed to be until my NCE days, when I read about Beverly Laye's book, her story and her book. I was able to see my temperament. I happen to be a melancholy. My temperament alone is a temperament that is keeping me away. I'm an introvert. And because of all this, it also added to what was disturbing me then because of my condition. Then I will find it difficult to ask for permission to stand up. I will be on a seat for hours, not getting up. But I can still remember that even if all these were surrounding me, I still remember God has put something in me. Then in my nursery school days, I was like age 6 and still in the nursery. Still in the nursery. If you come close to my speech, my work, my writing, my heart, you will never allow, you will never go away without looking through and looking through that. Who has done this? My writing, my artwork was excellent. When it gets to giving me grades in my writing and my art, I don't get 90. I don't get 95. They normally score me 97, 98, even 100.
We can't hear you, Ma. I think we can't hear you. Can you unmute, please? Mrs. Busayo? Okay, thank you very much. Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you, Ma.
So all this, I never allowed this to make me not to know what God has planned for me, because I know God has a plan for me and I know there is a reason for this. Because my mom said, even while I was growing, she cried and cried over me, that to the point that if the eyes should be blind by now, that should have been because of my condition. Because she was looking at me like, how will she be able to cope? How will I be able to cope? What will I become in life? How will I be able to cope in the midst of other children she has? I happen to be the second born, but other children after me, my other siblings, you will think I'm the last born, and I still have other 3 after me. But my mom treats me like the last born in the family. Why? Because of this condition. But I never allowed this to make me to feel like I'm being pitied, I'm being pampered, I'm being pet, to the point that I will not allow the purpose of God in my life to be achieved. I looked away from all this. Many a times, even after our marriage, many a times, I will just wake up and tell my husband, I want to do this. He will look at me and say, can you do it? At times I will tell my mom, can you do this? At times I will tell friends around, they will ask me, can you do this? But I thank God for how God really helped me, because there is hope in this resilience. I never allowed this to make me to look down on myself, to look down on what God has deposited in me. I know there are endowments. I know there are gifts that God has impacted on me. So I never allow all this to disturb me. I never allow all this to derail me. I never allow all this to make me feel like I am nobody. Because to be candid with you, so many things you will feel like you cannot do. But I'm a kind of person, because right from my primary school days, especially in the secondary school, when others are playing, I'll play alongside with them. Some will say, is your leg not paining you the way you are jumping? And when they are running, I'll be jumping. I don't run because I can't run. I'll be jumping. And because of this, they will say, why are you jumping? I see myself like my other mates. I see myself like the way they walk is the way I'm walking. I never see myself to have that disability of maybe one of my legs is having one condition or the other. No, I never allow this to affect me. So that has really helped me. It has really carried me in the journey. And as time goes on in my field of study, working with children with disabilities, I was able to see some other things that I need to also add to my virtue. Looking at children with challenges, I've worked with children with Down syndrome, autism, children with hearing impairment. I see them to be really designed for what God has designed for them to be. I've never seen any child to be a waste, because you will always see something special in every special child. And there is something special in every special woman being that God has made. I saw this in me that made me to say, no, nothing will make me to shift from that thing that God has planned for me. So I bless God for this. I thank God for my husband too. He has been a great support to me. People around me also see him, they comment, they say, oh, this is a wonderful man. It's not me, it's God that has done this. Sometime
Oh.
last
Mm.
month or 2 months ago, I went for a visit in my parents' place. People who knew me in the past years while I was growing, they saw me and said, are these your kids, Busayo? Are these your children? They were so happy. So Busayo can get married. So Busayo can have a good husband. So Busayo can have a caring husband. So Busayo can have a business of her own. It's always surprising that people who knows me then will see me today and glorify God in my life. I thank God because in all these things, I still have joy. In all this, I still have peace. My 3 kids I had them through CS. When we wanted to get married, my boss was telling my husband, Mr. Man, you have to take care of this woman. With her challenge, she has to, you have to bear some things for her. Number one, immediately she gets pregnant, you have to really take care of her. Be on the look, be on her look every time. It got to a point she said, I'll have to be on crutches. I said, me, I'm not using crutches. I'm okay, I'm fine. The 2nd month of my pregnancy, I started falling. I'll be falling, I won't be able to walk on my own. I had to call my husband. Temi, we have to get these crutches truly. In the 3rd month, I started using these crutches. I used the crutches for the period till delivery. And after delivery, I still make use of the crutches for me to balance myself and to get my feet back. So thank God for these people around me. Mrs. Oloketui at Creative Schools, Bagada. She happened to be a real mother, a caring woman who would never leave me alone until my husband would do that which she said he has to do. And it really helped me. It helped us in our family. I thank God for this. And if you are there, you have a challenge, maybe you feel other people's advice cannot work for you, it's better you take that advice immediately before it gets out of hand, because that is why we have people around us. We have people around us to take us in the pathway that we have to go, so that we won't find it difficult to cope with the disability we have or the inability to do things on our own. And this will really help. I thank God, because even after school, I worked with different schools, children with disability. I worked on my own as a therapist, speech therapist for children with special needs. But having my baby, she's now 6 years. That's 6 years ago. I found this um, this plan that God has planned for me from my baby. Because this artwork, no matter where I get to, wherever I get to, they see me in those schools, they see me as the art teacher, and I never study art. They will take the art teachers, they will tell them, you can join Miss Busayo, you can join the art teacher to walk along in this school. They pick me as art teacher or assistant art instructor in their schools. When it comes to practical, they will say I will be the one to take their heart for that section. God really, I know God really endowed me with this. And by the time I was taking all this craft work in schools, teaching children this craft work, I also used it as a means of giving people seminar to teach them art and crafts. But after these years, in 2018, I stumbled at an online program. The online program is on art making. And I said, I know how to make all these in papers. I need to put them into fabrics. So I went in for the program online, a month program. And after completing it, I'll just go and drop my baby in a crèche in our house here to be able to do my assignment, snap and send to my tutor online, which she will rate me 95, 97%. And before I know it, I started my work in the room. I told my mom, she was still with me doing omugo. I said, mommy, I can't cope sitting in the house for 2 months. She said, what work are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for work. I can't cope any longer, because the distance of where I was before, taking these children with special needs, I can't be going there, but I need to do something. I don't even know at this point what I can do. After she ended the omugo with me, she went back to her place. I started my own. I did the training. After the training, I'll gather things, even to register for the training that year. It was 1,005. I didn't even have the money, but I struggled. The third day, I was able to register. I registered for the program, and before you know it, the first work I did, wearing it on my head, it was an earpiece. The headpiece, someone asked, if you can do 20 of this for me, what's my charge? How much will you charge me? Before I know it, people started bringing in the work. I used the compound where I am as my store, as my shop, to showcase my work. Before I know it, I took it out of the compound. And from there, I got apprentice. I got one in the first month. I got two in the second month. That was how I started getting apprentice. I was able to get like 7 thereabouts in the fourth month. In the fourth to sixth month, when I started this program, I was able to get 7 of them. But during the COVID, when COVID came in, I had to, everyone to his tent. They were not coming. I too, I couldn't do that, but I was busy doing nose marks design then. So not until the after the COVID, I had to come back into this work. I encouraged them. We cannot all fold our hands and say because of COVID we will not do anything again. After the COVID, I was able to take back the work. We started the work again. From there, I added pillow making, bed sheet making, duvet making. In the business, I studied, I went for the course on art making, on all these flower making using fabrics. But because of the art um, gifts that I have, that talent in art work that I have, I was able to sit down on my own. At times I will sleep. For my dream, I'll make some things. Waking up, I'll get up and cut those things. Before I know it, it becomes a reality. So I will now remember all those work that I've done with papers, even while in primary school, even while in secondary school, even while in the higher institution. Even in my higher institution, I don't get broke. People will come to me and say, Busayo, draw for me. My coordinator in on my campus then was the first person to approach me for this and said, you have to draw for me. I said, okay, sir. After drawing in year 2000, 2001, year 2000, he said, this artwork is wonderful. I drew the map of the world for him. So after then, he said he will be paying me. I said, it's free of charge. I'm not collecting anything. He said, no, you have to collect. He forced 150 naira on me that year and said, you have to collect this. After then, he started bringing in people. He said, I will call people for you. You will walk and you will walk tire. That was when I was in my NCE days. My coordinator brought in people. As I'm drawing, my friends will be painting. Busayo, what are we going to do? Oh yeah, put color yellow here. The head, use brown. I'll be doing the drawing, they'll be doing the coloring. I will do the perfecting of the work. At the end of the day, we'll be able to gather money to go to the market, do shopping, and we'll cook and have enough to eat, even while in the hostel. I never got broke. This really helped me. And getting into this, I was able to realize those plans that God has for me, those things that God has proposed to make it to be in my life. I said, how will I be able to do all this? Because at times, if I sit down and start thinking of those things that I have in mind to do, I'll say, but I believe God will be able to help me and see me through, and will be able to carry on these things with the help of God. In everything I did, I never allow my flesh to rule me. I always call on God to direct me. I always call on him to direct me and to put me through. And he has been doing it. Those things I receive some from the dream. Some I'll sit down and look at it and turn it to what any other person has not turned it to before, and it becomes reality. So this is how I've been doing it. And
wow.
Services, free services to people with special needs also, and also the hearing ones, the youths and adults, that is to bring them out of their shell, because some are there that they don't even know what to do. But with the help of God and God helping me to be able to do this training, I've been able to train people in this field of fascinator making, headwear making, that's auto gele, turban caps, fascinators, bed sheets making, duvet making, and the rest. So that is how, yeah.
Thank you very, very. Oh my goodness, we are seeing you now. Okay. Wow. We have, oh God, I'm so happy to see. We can see you now actually. Well, you've said yours, but we're still going to see you because you're going to answer our questions. So it's I mean, this story is so wonderful. See, Can you just drop in the chat box what stood out for you? Like for me, a lot of things stood out for me in a story. Imagine you sleeping and getting designs. I mean, that's the work of God. Imagine you sleep and you get design in your dream and you come back into reality and you create it. That must be God at work. Like it's just God. This reminds me of a book I was reading recently of a man that God would give him the inspiration to develop machines. I think it's maybe movers of men or movers of mountains. I can't remember the book. And he would sleep, and then God would give him the description, will I say, inspiration on how to build machines. Hey, my goodness. Please, I want to see what stood out for you in the chat box. Whatever it is that stood out for you in a story, I want you to put it in the chat box. For me, the getting revelation, getting inspiration, even in a dream, even from God, stood out for me. Also, the fact that self-pity, she didn't allow self-pity to ruin her. So just imagine what would have happened. What would have become of her if she was pitying herself and she was saying, I can't amount to anything. I have a problem with my leg. I am this. And then, we have this culture, this subtle culture of pampering those people that are living with disability. Please, I'm challenging you today. If you have anybody that has a form of, that is living with any form of challenge or disability, leave them, let them explore. Let them be, let them live, let them discover. Because if you don't leave them, they would not discover themselves. If you don't leave them, if you don't expose them, they won't discover themselves. We keep pampering and pampering and pampering them. But I thank God for the kind of spirit that she has. She's like, as she was talking, I could see that strong, determined woman in her that is like, no, 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 you're not going to stop me from becoming who I am supposed to be. I'm so, so happy for that. I'm waiting for your comments. Put in the chat box what stood out for you from our testimony, that thing that you gained from our story. So now, Ma, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Like you've answered most of my questions, actually. You've answered most of my questions, but I'm going to ask you a few questions, and you just give us the answer in 1 or 2 minutes. If you're joining us, Facebook, YouTube, Zoom, drop your questions in the chat box. We would answer your questions. Now, I want to ask you a question. What motivates you to keep going? There's sometimes in life that we just it happens to some of us, like if not everybody. Like you just get, maybe discouraged. You are like, what's the purpose of doing all this? Is there a way out? Is God really with me? But what really motivates you to keep doing what you're doing? Because you're doing a great work. Like I see some of the things you do on Facebook. I see some of the things you do. And I think I was saying it, I was talking to my husband recently, I was showing him one of your work. And I was like, see what this woman is creating. So what motivates you to keep going? In 1 minute, just tell us what motivates you to keep going. Even on the days that you feel bad or you feel overwhelmed, what motivates you to keep going?
After that,
my number one motivation is
Emmanuel, please get up.
My number one motivation is God. He's been helping me going. Even when I feel like I'm fed up, I'm tired, I can't do this any longer. That is when that vision will come anew and tell me you have to continue and tell me you have to carry on. The free training I started, the month I started, I never planned I would start that training. The vision I received from God is because before I got married, I used to keep chicken, turkey, poultry, and during the festive period I sell them, be it my parents' place. So I know I really love chicks because they even call me Mama Ladie because of the way I care for them, to the point that I'll bring some to the passage of my room and keep them there because of cold. In this vision, God showed me that I have kept some chicken in the cage for a long period of time and they have not been fed by me. That I'm the person that is to feed them. I got to the cage, I saw those chicken. I said, yes, I could remember I keep this chicken here, but have not fed them for long. What could have been the reason for me not feeding them? He told me immediately, unlock the cage. I unlocked the cage. They jumped out and started jumping at me. You know how chicken does, looking for food, expecting me to give them food. I said, God, I don't have anything to give these things. But why have I kept these ones in this cage for so many period? I can't even remember. I can't even say from this point to this point. Before I know it, they saw a little gutter on the floor where I was. They started picking things from there, and the little stream of water, they started sucking from there, and they started getting robust. I said, God, what is this? For me to unlock this cage, he said there are some people that you need to give what you have, and you have refused to give them. That was what bring about the free training. That month of May this year that I started, it was as if I was receiving whip that, oh yeah, go and start this training.
I love that.
Organized the whole thing. When I told my husband knows I dream. He says, what have you seen again? Oh, what have you seen? He was like, okay, let's see how you will do it. And that's why I don't like any, especially when God speaks to me. I don't like anyone trying to say you cannot do it. I'll say it's God that has said it, and I know you will be the one to do it. Before I know it, doing the rentals, thank God for Sister Jokel also. She was there to support with her husband too, to get this training going. I did the 5 days training, and thank God it was a successful one. After then, I've been crying for apprentice all this year. After the COVID, to get a stable one, some may come and after 4 months they are in school, they've gotten admission, no way to get apprentice. Before I know it, God opened the way for apprentice. Even now, I'm praying for God to give me space that I'll be able to accommodate. If every one of them should come in a day, my shop now cannot accommodate them all. And which they are still calling me for registration, that they are coming. It's then God opened that way. So this is God.
Oh my,
God
my. I love what I'm hearing. I love that. You know, I can see a woman that has a relationship with God, that walks with God. If you are here, you don't have a relationship with God, you're not walking with God. You see, this is a challenge. This is a challenge for you. I can see a woman that walks with God, that hears from God, that knows how God speaks to her, and she's willing and obedient to follow those instructions. You know, one thing about obedience to God, it opens doors. You can't obey God and still be the same. When you obey God, it opens doors, it gives opportunity, it grants opportunities. And that's what I see in this wonderful, amazing, strong woman. Like, honestly, you're doing a good job. God bless you, ma. I'm not releasing you. I still have some questions for you. Now, from what you're saying, I can see, even without you saying it outrightly, I can sense your kind of mindset. Like, you have this growth mindset. You have this mindset, this positive outlook perspective about life. Like, you feel you have this belief that if you want to do something, if you believe that this has to be done, then you are ready to push through to get that thing. In 1 minute, can you tell us what kind of, like, what advice will you give us, especially for those that are living with some form of physical challenges and limitations? How do we cultivate that positive mindset? Because I personally, I also believe that mindset is very key. See, if you did not have that good positive mindset, you won't be where you are today. But I see that you have this mindset of, there is nothing that is impossible. I can do anything as long as God says this is possible. So how do we as women, not just women, because, you know, men, people living with challenges, disabilities, how do we cultivate that kind of mindset that will help us to bridge the gap between our present and our future? Now, like you have a vision. God, gave you that inspiration. This is where you're going to. This is what you need to do. But the present might not exactly look like what the future says, right? So what kind of mindset, what kind of advice can you give us on how to cultivate the kind of mindset that will help us to bridge the gap from where we are to our future? Is it okay if you just a few things about that, and then we'll prepare to round up the meeting?
The positive mindset is the key. We should have this positive mindset. If we have this positive mindset, this will help us go in, and it will bring about the growth. When you talk of the condition of people living with disability, and if I should look at myself in that and put myself in that shoe, I have never for once depend on someone who will give me money to start something. Even if I don't want to start it, I will look for all means to start that thing. And before I know it, a little drop becomes a mighty ocean. I don't allow any form of, I don't have money, because this is what most of us would hold on to and say, I don't have someone supporting me. I don't have someone giving me money. As I am, I've never asked for money from an organization to start my business. As I am, I've never asked for money from anybody to keep me going. Families may see me and say, oh, Busayo, you need help. They will be saying it and may not be able to help. You may be looking up to one person and say, this person will be the person that will help me. But at the end of the day, I'm a kind of person that I don't like me approaching you, and by the time I approach you, you tell me no. Oh, you've killed me. So because of that, I will rather not open my mouth to ask for that. Please, can you help me to do this for me? I am a kind of person that I don't depend on people to give me what I need to do. I try all my best possible to start something on my own. And before you know it, I have it done. I don't allow that negative mindset to overcome my thinking. I'm always that positive. That positive mindset is what has been helping me in the way. Because if I've been having that positive mindset and say I cannot do it, it's too enormous, it's too far, is this, I won't be able to achieve it. But with the positive mindset of I can do it, I will be able to do it. Nothing will stop me. That has been helping me to go in the way.
Thank you
And
very much, Ma. Thank you very much. I really, really appreciate all you've said. One more thing I picked from what she said, from her story. She talked about reading books. I mean, those are ladies that some ladies that are close to me know that I'm very keen on. I encourage people around me to read books. Like she talked about reading a book about temperament, Tim Laye, why you act the way you act, right? And that book is a book you should read. I mean, to help you understand, discover yourself. And I think that self-awareness is one of the important things in your journey to fulfill purpose. You need to discover yourself. You need to, so if you are listening, read books, inspirational books that will motivate you. Like I always challenge the sisters and the ladies around me, read books, read inspirational books. They have a way of, if you read the story of great men and great women, you would see that they were men and women that read. They read books. So I want to encourage you to read books. So if you have a question, put it in the chat box. I want to say a few things before we round up this meeting. We've learned a lot from the story of this amazing woman, Mrs. Busayo. And I can see that, she's even doing, she has a ministry to those that are living with hearing and speech impairments. This is amazing. And I want, in Mother Teresa's words, Mother Teresa said that the purpose of life is to find your mission and fulfill it. So if you don't understand what we're talking about when we mean purpose, it means that you find your mission. What is the mission? This woman, she has seen that some of the strengths that God has given her, which is the creativity. I mean, she's so creative. Those are some of the things that God has put in her to fulfill her life's mission. So if when we're talking about purpose of life, like what's the purpose of your life, it means that it's for you to discover your mission in life. The Lord made us to understand in the scriptures that these people have I formed for myself. God has formed you. God has formed me. No matter what your disability is or your physical challenges, there is something unique about you that would help you stand out amongst the crowd. That's the truth. There is something unique about you that will help you stand out among the crowd. And what is purpose? One of the dictionary definitions of purpose is something, the reason why something is done or created. So in another word, I'm asking you, what's your purpose today? That's why were you created? It's a question I want you to go back and reflect on. Why were you created? Why are you an accident on this planet? If you're an accident on this planet, then you will just wander and waste. Yes, you will just wander away, you would waste. You need to find that mission. You need to find that assignment, that thing, that reason for your existence. While we're preparing for this meeting, 2 stories came to mind, which I'm going to share briefly. And these stories, we can see the stories in the Bible. And that's the story. I'll start from the story of Naaman. If you are there, you can open 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1, but I won't, because of time, I won't read that passage. Naaman, for those of us that might not know about Naaman was a soldier for the king of Syria. We can find that story in the book of 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. And the Bible described him with a lot of amazing words. But guess what? The Bible ended up by saying that he was a leper. And I want to say a few things. Many times we look at my perspective about this story has always been like, sometimes when we are praying, we say, oh God, everything, any but in my life, anything that is not right, that, that spoils the other good. But honestly, the Holy Spirit was helping me to see another perspective of Naaman. That Naaman, although he was a leper, which ideally should make him isolate himself from people, if he doesn't isolate himself from people, people would want to isolate themselves from him, because leprosy is a contagious disease, right? But Naaman was so good as a warrior that he stood before the king, like he had a reputation with the king. So, it was like God was making me to understand that, do you know that whatever challenge or problem you have, you can still sit with kings. You can still dine with kings. The Bible made us to understand that Naaman was a captain of the host. Imagine a leper, but he was a captain. The Bible said he was a great man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate that. He said, he was a great man. Another description, he was honorable. I mean, how many of who does not want to be honorable? I want to be honorable. I want to be a great woman. I want to be a captain in my own, in my territory where God has placed me. The Bible said he was a deliverer. He was a mighty man in valor. Imagine these 5 descriptions. These 5 descriptions were what the Bible gave about him in the book of 2 Kings. And he was a leper. So I want to challenge you, whatever it is that you are living with, you perceive as a disability, it is not an excuse for you not to be great. Because Naaman's leprosy was not an excuse for him, not to stand before the king. He stood before the king. He was respected and known by the king of Syria, rather, and he was a leper. You don't have an excuse, my dear woman, my dear man, you have no excuse. The second story that came to mind when we were preparing for this program was the story of Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth was the son of Jonathan, that's the son of Saul, right? And the Bible made us understand that, the narrative, the perspective about the story is that at some point, David remembered Jonathan, right? And he said, "Oh, I remember Jonathan. Is there anybody that is left in the house of Jonathan so I can favor that person?" We think of, we always look at that story as, oh, it's a story of God remembered Mephibosheth because of the life that Jonathan had lived. But I want to also tell you, though the Bible did not outrightly say that, but I could deduce something from that story, that Mephibosheth was not a vagabond. He was not an irresponsible man. Because if he was irresponsible, nobody would recommend him. He had a problem with his leg. But I don't know what he was doing, working on his character, working on his personality. But he was not irresponsible. He was not, because if he was irresponsible, there is no how they would recommend him to stand before the king. Nobody would do that. It's amazing that the scripture said that when David was saying, okay, let's call Ziba, let me know if there is somebody in the house of Jonathan that I want to favor. Someone said, you will find them in so place in Lodebar. My goodness, this is amazing. They knew where to find Mephibosheth. It was not a wanderer. It was not, one of those youths or those men that would just be going about. No, like wandering stars, no direction. They knew where to find him. They knew where to find him. It was not a social isolate. So many of us, because of our self-pity, we are like, I should isolate myself from people. I think I should just, keep to myself. That's not the way out. Mephibosheth was not like that. It was not a social isolate, because when it was time to get him, they knew where to meet. They said, see, you will find him here. And they went there and they found him. And they brought him before the king. And guess what? Even though he was lame, he dined with kings. Oh my goodness. I want to encourage you, if there's anything you are taking away from this meeting, is that whatever challenge or whatever physical disability you perceive that you have, or you perceive as a limitation, you can still sit with kings. You can still dine with kings. You can still stand with kings. See, it's a thing of your mind. Your physical disability is just, it's not a limitation. The real limitation is your mindset.
Yes.
The real limitation is your mindset. It's a mindset. And that's why, when I asked her what you have to have a positive mindset and perspective about life. You have to embrace growth. Now, I want to just say a few things that I want you to take home as tips to help you, whatever it is, the physical challenge, limitation you have. I believe that these things that I would say now would help you to navigate this season, and come out strong, bold, and resilient. The first thing I want to say is you need to discover your skills. Now, one of my coach would say that don't concentrate on what you can change, but concentrate on the positive things that you have, right? Now, if I can't change a physical disability, why don't I concentrate on the positive things that I can strengthen? Like my skills, my creativity, my talents, my qualities. So now I want to ask you, the first thing I want to challenge you today is you need to sit down, you need to focus and highlight your skills, your talents, your quality. What are those things that make you stand out in the crowd? I'm sure that if you gathered like 10, 100 women, and even though they all had similar gifts, each one would have a unique gift that makes her stand out in the crowd. So the first thing is focus, highlight your strengths, your skills, your talents, your qualities. You feel you can speak, you can write, you can create. Work on that and leverage on those things. You see, she realized that she had this creativity. She had this gift of, and guess what? She went for a course, right? A 1 month course that helped her, taught her how to make cap. And see, now she has an organization. Focus on your skills. Don't focus on what you cannot change. I want to also say that you set goals for yourself. So many of us, so many people live without goals. They just live, okay, today, wake up, eat, wake up, wake up, eat, go about anywhere, anything that happens today, and then you just continue your life. You need to be more intentional about your life, my dear people, my dear friends. You need to be more intentional. You need to set goals for yourself. If you are living with, now this is even beyond a disability, whether you have a disability or not, or you have a physical challenge or not, you need to set goals for your life so that you can fulfill the purpose of God, and you can make use of the potentials that God has given you. You need to set goals. Oh, weekly goals. This is what I'm going to achieve this week. This is what I'm going to achieve this month. This is what I'm going to achieve this year. This year, 2025 is coming now. Some organizations have already planned out their 2025. I hope you know. I was talking to someone recently, and she said, well, that was yesterday, and she said, do you know that all my activities, all my programs for 2025, they are ready? Imagine, like, all the programs of our organization for 2025, they are ready. Like, it's ready, outlined. She said the only thing is, if God decides to change the plans, fine, but she has them prepared. You have to have goals. You have to set goals. Another thing is growth mindset. You have to embrace growth. Be ready to learn. Be ready to learn. Many great people will say that they won't allow each day pass without learning something new. Have a growth mindset. Be committed to learning something new. If you have to read books, if you have to attend programs, you have to attend seminars, whatever it is you have to do, you have to embrace a growth mindset. Another thing is be part of a supportive community. Yes, that supportive community could be your church. It could be your family. I love the fact that, our husband is so supportive. Like, honestly, when you see a supportive man, oh my goodness, you just be grateful to God, because, it's so supportive. That's very good. That's part of our supportive community, because I'm sure that if her husband wasn't supporting her, it would be more difficult for her.
Yeah.
It will be very difficult. Our husband is supporting, which is part of our supportive community. For you, maybe it's your family, it's maybe your parent, maybe it's your church, maybe it's a group. Sometimes we live in a global, the world is a global village now, where people have, we have support groups, even online support groups, right? They'll say, oh, this group for people that have this challenge, this group for people that have this challenge. If you have to find that support in a group, be careful though, I have to put a clause there. If you have to find that support you need from people that have been through that journey, please do. Support group is very important. Now we hear that, so person committed suicide. So person, how did it get to that point? Is it that we were not sensitive? Is it that we didn't know what was going wrong? We need that support group. I also want to say that you need to engage your creativity. She knew that she was creative, right? And she began to engage it. She began to, do the cuttings, see, if you have a gift, a talent, and you don't use it, you know what happens? It's going to die. If you have a talent and you don't use it, it's a waste. One of the things that scare me so much, well, yes, I don't want to say scare in that, but the Bible talked about talents, 5 talents, 2 talents, 1 talent. And it's amazing that the person that had 1 talent went to hide it, and he was called a wicked and slothful servant. That is, to me, that's scary. That you have a talent and you hide it. God sees you as wicked. Sometimes in our world we say, what if you say somebody's wicked, you are thinking of someone that's killed someone that has stolen, someone that has done one big crime. But the Bible calls someone who has failed to use his or her talent as what? Wicked. and slothful.
Yeah.
That, to me, that is enough thing. That is enough motivation to jolt you to engage your creativity. Whatever it is that God has put in you, you have to engage it. Another thing is you have to discover yourself and love and accept yourself. That is who you are. Like, this is who you are. I realize that this is my challenge. I can't change it, right? I'm living with it. I'm enjoying, I'm living with it. I'm accepting myself and I'm loving it. Whatever you can't change, my dear, don't focus on it. Focus on what you can change. Focus on what you can improve. Another thing I want to say is being resilient. You must learn, one of the things that my personal mantra is that I do not see challenges as obstacles in my way. Like, if I need to do something, I have goals to meet up with. Whatever challenge I have, whatever perceived challenge, I do not see it as a limitation. I see it as, in fact, I see it as an opportunity. And one of the ways to be resilient is to learn to embrace that any challenge you face in life is not an obstacle. No, it is an opportunity to grow. That's how you can stand up, rise up tall, strong, and bounce back despite every challenge. And finally, I want to talk about support. We talked about support systems. Yes, you need support systems, spiritual support, church, whatever it is, you need support. It's very, very key. See, you don't need to do life. You don't need to journey alone. You can work with people. Many times in life, God has placed people on our journey to help us, except you don't recognize them. She was talking and she mentioned some people, mentioned a woman, mentioned this. I believe that those are strategic people, or those are people that God placed at strategic points in her life, in her journey, to help her to become who God has planned that she would be. And honestly, I see her beyond this. I see her going far. I see her going places. I see her doing great things. I know that's definitely going to happen. She's going to do greater things. She's going to places. She's doing things. She's doing. And yeah, you would be the one saying that I don't need support. Support is enough. Enough support. I have enough support, because you will begin to get support. People will support you. People will support you in this course. One thing is, if you obey God, God will definitely open up opportunities and wait for you. So before we round up, does anyone have any question? Okay, yes, I can see. Okay, someone saying, I'm challenged by our resilience and doggedness to fulfill destiny. More important, are able to discover ourselves, talent through reading that book by Tim Laye. Yeah, thanks for the pro. Okay, thank you very much, sir. Okay, thanks for the compliments, sir. We appreciate that. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So, any other question? We're rounding up the meeting now. Thank you, Mrs. Busayo Winiro. That it was amazing. It was nice to have you. I'm so happy to have you join us here, Ma. Despite your busy schedule, you still took out time, and you were vulnerable enough to share your story. Like so many people, our culture sometimes doesn't support vulnerability. Like, people find it difficult to come out and say, this is what I went through, right? They're like, I don't want people to know that this is what I've gone through. I don't want people to know that this is what I have. But I really appreciate your courage, your boldness in being vulnerable enough to share your story with us. Honestly, I really appreciate you, Ma. I honor you. Thank you very much for joining us. To my wonderful interpreter and sister, I'm so happy. Thank you, Ma, for joining us. Like, I'm so happy for joining us. Like, thank you very much, Ma. God bless you greatly. Yeah, and everyone that has taken out time to join us in this meeting. I can see my wonderful, people here. Yes, I can see them. I can see Miss Ruth. I can see, yes, Yola. I can see Miss Joke. Sorry if I missed out your name. I can see Miss Blessing. Sorry if I missed out your name, but I can see every one of you. Some of us logged in without our names. I'm not seeing the name there. So thank you. And those of us on Facebook, those of us, like some those of us watching on Facebook and YouTube, I appreciate everyone for honoring us. It's by God's grace, we will still bring up such programs. We'll still have more of these programs coming up. And this program is brought to you by Empower Our Starlight Foundation, which is a non-profit organization with a mission to reach out to women and families, helping women discover their purpose, fulfilling God's purpose for their lives, and helping them discover their potential so they can impact their families and the society at large. So it's a privilege to have every one of you join us today. We'll just round up this meeting by saying a word of prayer. Father, we appreciate you for this meeting. It was amazing. It was an amazing time of learning and gleaning from this wonderful woman. Lord, we don't take this privilege for granted. We pray that you would keep her, you would preserve her, you would multiply your blessings upon her life, even as she has come out to share a story with us. And I pray that every one of us that has joined this meeting, you would also, all that we have learned, help us to keep it and help us to stand up strong, fulfilling our purpose and our calling in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name we have prayed. Thank you very much. I forgot to say that I said Mrs. If you heard me, I said Mrs. Busayo. She's the CEO of Greener Pastures Creative Hub. She makes wonderful, amazing caps. See, go and follow her. Go to your Facebook account if you're not yet a friend. Go to Facebook now and look for Busayo Winiro. Join, follow her, send a friend request. If you are anywhere in Lagos, book your art. Me, I've booked my own art. I've booked my own cap. If you are anywhere in Lagos, send a request to her, book your cap. She's doing an amazing work. She's doing really beautiful. She has beautiful products. So book your products with her. She's doing a very wonderful work. Yeah, I couldn't display one of the flyers. I couldn't display a flyer today because, yeah, sorry, I apologize for that. But I want to encourage you, reach out to her, connect with her. You will see some of the amazing work with her. And I look forward to partnering with you, ma, in the nearest future. Thank you very much, everyone. God bless you. Yeah, thank you. The meeting has come to an end. Thank you very much, Mr. Adekunle Williams, for joining us. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah. The meeting has come to an end. Thank you. I really appreciate every one of you. This was a wonderful meeting. I appreciate every one of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.